I've been on keto for a month now, and I didn't turn from Clark Kent into Superman, but I do have a generally better energy level, don't have the big highs and lows. It's typical when you're eating a lot of sugar and carbs, and it's easier to get all the way through a project instead of kind of these starts and stops. Now, I still like an afternoon nap, and I think Latin America is really onto something there. We should pay attention to that. But here's like 9 things that I've learned and that hopefully they'll be of some help to you. And number one, probably no big surprise, is it takes a massive amount of discipline to really get started on this diet and to stay on it. And you really have to have a big reason to do this. For me, I'm battling cancer and fatty liver disease, which is the least of my worries. But I believe that food is fuel and food is medicine, and giving my body the right fuel can turn into the right medicine that will help my body fight cancer. Now, I'm doing all the stuff my doctor tells me to do, but I'm also trying to give my body the best tools that it can have in order to do its job. And my wife isn't participating. So there's still ice cream in the house, in the freezer. She cooks cookies and bakes bread and does all the things. And that's just an extra level of challenge when that stuff's still around the house and I'm not partaking in it because her cookies are really, really delicious. Number two, condiments I've discovered have tons of hidden sugar. I've become a big label reader, and all those little extra things that you put in really add up quickly. My favorite barbecue sauce is has a huge amount of sugar. It's like somewhere around 33% of sugar. I'll put up a picture if I happen to have one. But condiments, big red flag. Got to be careful about those. And even some that say they're keto friendly, read the label on the back, not so much. Number three, hungry feels different. I'm not usually hungry when I get up in the morning. I could easily push my breakfast back several hours. And part of keto is those stretches between meals where your body's really having to make ketones and eating fat in the body, which is helping you lose weight. One of the issues in my house is pushing my breakfast back breaks up the cadence of the house, so that's sometimes hard to do. But now I do to eat 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner, and that seems to be fine. And right now, I really don't worry about how much I eat. It's about what I eat. So those carb-free and sugar-free foods that really help your body do what it needs to do. So that may change, but right now that's what I'm doing. Number four, about 2 weeks in, I had a huge craving day. My body was just demanding sugar, carbs, something. It must be what addiction withdrawal feels like. All day long, my body was like, gimme, 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 gimme. And of course, when the ice cream's in the freezer and the cookies are in the cabinet and there's fresh baked bread there, that's really a challenge. But I just gritted it out and decided, okay, today I'm going to live with this. Maybe not tomorrow, but today. And I gutted it out. And by the next day, it had gone away. And those kind of waves of craving that I had felt early that kind of come and gone were basically gone after that. There's an occasional little ripple, but I'm past that. So I think that's a huge brick wall for a lot of people. And tied into that is one of the key rules in keto is no snacking. You have a meal and then you don't eat again until the next meal. And again, that time between meals is really, really critical to be on a keto diet. And that was harder than I expected because, like I said, there's all this really tasty stuff in the house. And I didn't realize how often I just walk to the cabinet and grab a cookie. So that's just been just flat out making myself not do something. And honestly, I think most people would lose weight if they stuck to eating at mealtime and not so much in between meals and avoiding the chips and the cookies and the candy bars and all the snacky stuff. Another thing that would help is just driving by the donut shop instead of pulling in. Those are a couple things that I think would help people whether on keto or not. But on keto, it's got to be super intentional. No snacking between meals. Temptations is number 6. They're everywhere. Now, I started this right before Christmas. As you can imagine, there's chocolates everywhere. There are gatherings to go to where there's every kind of sugary food you can imagine. And the worst moment for me was I was out to dinner with family members at a buffet place, a really nice buffet place, and they had pecan pie, really nice looking pecan pie. And I love pecan pie. And somehow I didn't go get some pecan pie. And for me, that was a huge win because, all right, if I can avoid pecan pie at Christmas, I think I'm going to be okay. The payoff was I went and saw my doctor shortly after Christmas, my regular doctor, primary care doctor. And first question was, how did you lose weight at Christmas? And I said, I'm on a keto diet now. And he was just amazed and really quite happy. So that was a win. It made me feel really, really good. Number 7 is eating out. And that's really hard, especially when you're with other people and menus are generally not keto friendly. So I've had to ask for exceptions that sometimes a restaurant didn't really want to do, but having allergies seems to help get past that. And then one restaurant, one diner that we've eaten at regularly, I discovered doesn't even have butter in the building. They use margarine. And I found that out when I was having breakfast and some broccoli in it, and I asked for butter because they had the fake tubs of stuff on the table. And she went back to the kitchen and then came back and said, I'm sorry, we don't have butter. It's all the same thing. And we cook with margarine. So I can't eat there anymore because they're using margarine for everything. Number 8, a lot of people on keto say they have better sleep. That hasn't happened for me yet, but I really hope it becomes a result. And number 9 is test strips. You want to use test strips, the keto test strips. It's a really great way to keep score because you know every day that your body's making ketones. And after 2 weeks or so, I was making some. Now after a month, my body's making a lot of them. And eventually it'll self-correct and it won't be quite so many. It's a really great way to make sure that I'm having success every day. The results, I've stayed on keto within the limits of, frankly, reality. So I'd give my 1-month score a 95%. I've lost 10 pounds. I have about 10 pounds to go. And the 10 I'm at now is kind of at the top of normal weight, but I want to get down from that. So I've got a little wiggle room. And one of my specialist doctors, radiologist, that I saw here just last week, that saw me a month or so, over a month ago, walked in the room and she said, you look great. Your color's really good. You just look like you feel good. What's going on? And she hadn't done any radiation treatments yet. And I told her I was on keto and we had talked about keto before I started it to make sure it wouldn't mess up anything else. And she just thought that was great. Felt like that was good for her to know that was working really well. And that's where I'm at in my journey. I'm 95% on keto. I'm making ketones. I'm losing weight and plan to keep going. So that's where I'm at. I'll report back when it seems like it makes sense, maybe in another month. If you have questions or want to comment, please feel free to, and I really appreciate your watching. Thank you.